Hi everyone, it's Becky here again, and I am here today to do a little mini mono tangle for you. Today's tangle is going to be a Zentangle HQ tangle called Static. Now this is a really interesting tangle because it's quite a texture tangle, so it's focused on kind of filling the space with lots of repetitive lines and texture, but you can shade it to be quite dynamic and interesting as well. So in front of me I have my self-cut mini tile from Fabriano Tiplo paper. I have my Micron 05, I have my Tortillon and my Zentangle pencil as well. So I'm ready to go, and let's get started to show you this tangle. So I'm going to start off this one just by creating a space in which to place this tangle. So I'm going to do my dots and a border. And join those together to give me a space to place this pattern. Obviously you can fit this tangle into any space really, but there you go. So there's my my kind of space in which I'm going to tangle, and I'm going to start to place my pen strokes now with my Micron. Now what I'm going to do initially is I'm going to just draw a big zigzag across the center here. So I'm going to go from corner to corner. In fact, no, I'm going to go from side to side rather than corner to corner, and I'm going to do this in a quite pronounced way. I find this is the best way with static. I want to be fairly pronounced with my zigzag, but it doesn't have to be even. You know, they don't all have to be the same size. It can be any kind of style zigzag that you like. And simply, I'm now just going to aura all of these lines that I've drawn. So I'm going to start on this side and then I'm going to move onto this side. And I find that when you draw zigzags in this way, it does tend, like the way the zigzag looks does sort of tend to morph almost as you kind of continue to add the auras. So you might find that your zigzag doesn't look the same the further through this you get, but that's fine. And I'm trying to keep my auras fairly consistent, but again, you know, it's up to you. You can experiment with different widths of auras to see how this tangle looks, but we're going for quite tight auras because it kind of creates that background texture. I'm stopping at my border here, so at this point I'm just going to come down to here and stop and then pick it up here. And just repeating, so we have this kind of repetitive zigzag that's going to fill our space with this lovely texture. And with any texture tangle you can sort of shade it just as a whole, as you know. I find I like to put texture tangles in the kind of the background and then shade them so they drop back a bit and just provide that texture without too much detail. But I will show you how I like to shade this one in a slightly different way. So I'm just going to go ahead and nice and slowly keep those repetitive auras going. And you can kind of see how these zigzags do change a little the more you draw, and that's kind of the beauty of hand drawing really. It's never going to be perfect. I'm sure you could, you know, recreate sort of an image like this or a pattern like this on the computer or on Photoshop, or even AI could probably do something like it, but it's never going to have the kind of, it's almost like the unevenness of your lines or the, you know, inconsistencies make it what it is, I think. And just this simple zigzag is all we're doing in this tangle. I'm just going to finish all of these bits one after another here, and then finally these bits here. And there you have it. It kind of looks almost like a bit of an optical illusion, I think, as it is. And so now I've drawn my line work, I'm going to place my pen down and pick up my pencil. And I'm going to imagine that kind of these are columns. So we have a a slanted up line like this, and then another one that comes in the opposite direction. And I'm going to shade alternating sort of sections. So if I shade all of the ones here that are kind of going up to the right and stopping at the point up and the point down. And I'm using the side of my pencil to place my graphite nice and gently but still boldly onto the tile. And I'm not worrying too much about covering the full surface because I'm going to use my tortillon to help me with that in a second. I'm doing the same on this little section. And then finally over here. And then I'm going to pick up my tortillon and simply blend the graphite that I've placed just to give it that consistent feel, and get rid of any white gaps and just give that kind of consistency to the grey. Just gently blending all of that graphite in. And that is static. And you can see how it kind of gives you that illusion of the sections rising up away from the tile. So yeah, really fun one to use if you are creating texture in the background or on any tile. I hope you liked that, and I will see you again for more mini monotangles. Thank you.